All systems are a go.
Confirming all systems are a go. Launching the podcast.
3, 2, 1.
This is Hello from Mars. Hey guys, welcome to a very special episode of Hello from Mars. My name is Marissa. We are finally at the end of 2020. Maybe we can start to celebrate or at least take a sigh of relief sometime soon, hopefully. But that being said, it could have been a very lackluster year for even the biggest of names in Hollywood, but one, nothing can stop her. 2 surprise albums that completely brought us all together, and a Netflix documentary entitled Miss Americana that kicked off the year. Whether you love her or love to hate her, a pandemic can't even hold her down. Taylor Swift has had an enormous year this year, and that is why I have 2 super Swifties that are about to join me via Zoom. They were a ton of fun to talk to, so make sure you're checking out the bonus features right now on Instagram and on Facebook. Search Hello from Mars Podcast. Make sure you're liking and following the page, and also subscribe right now because we got plenty of more to come in 2021, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Happy New Year and enjoy. I even have my Swiftie albums handy. Can I tell you, this was the hardest thing in my life to find.
Yeah.
Like, why? I get it, okay? We're in an era of like people not wanting a lot of hard copies of things, but I'm old and I want a hard copy, Yeah. And for artists that I love and that I support and like that I don't want my computer to crash and like lose everything from my folders and stuff, like I need this. So I went to Target and it wasn't out, and this was only on Saturday, right? So they came out the day before and I searched and I'm like, okay, well, you know what? It's Taylor Swift. Maybe they put it by the register. No. I mean, you remember the big Lover display, right? I mean, they had like 7 of them. Right. There was like 7 of them scattered throughout a Target. And then this time, it's like, I get it, surprise album, but can we at least put a couple copies where music is supposed to be? So I had to ask the question, and the guy's like, oh, and he pulls it out, and it's like right there on the desk. I'm like, what, do you think people are just going to come and grab 10 copies? I mean, probably, but at least have them out.
When we went, it was like doing a drug deal. They were like, we only have 100 of these. Here's one. Like,
it was behind a desk as well for us. We had to ask, and they gave us a single copy behind the desk.
Wow.
Well, the snowstorm.
Wait a minute. Is Taylor Swift CDs now like toilet paper was in the beginning of the pandemic? I think we just figured something out. Like, or is this like a Taylor Easter egg that we got to try to decipher now? I don't know.
Everyone wants them because there's the bonus tracks on it.
That's true. They're the hard to find bonus tracks. So I want to introduce everybody to you guys. I've got Andrew and Andrea. Our mutual of Brendan was like, you've got to talk to these 2. Yeah. They're huge Swifties. And because I was able to get you guys, I have a feeling this might be a Hello from Mars annual tradition, not necessarily of Taylor Swift, because I do feel like she will probably be the biggest thing of every year to follow. But to have something of somebody who maybe had like the biggest surprise year in pop culture to kind of round out the year and have like a big, episode about them. And of course, there's probably a couple people I could have done it for, but I mean, we got not 1, but 2 surprise albums. Both went number 1. Both have spawned all sorts of chatter and trends with cardigans. I see you, Andrew. And you're both doing it. I'm like, I saw him first.
I saw your shirt. I saw you wearing your shirt.
No. And you know what? For a second, I was like, oh, I'm chilly. And so I grabbed an evergreen sweatshirt, and then I got hot again, and I was like, screw that. So I think, this will become like that year-end tradition. But like I was saying, Taylor, 2 very surprise albums. Even when she's like not in the spotlight, somehow she ends up being in the spotlight, and in such a positive way too. Both albums were very much needed this year. So I'm super glad to have you 2 on to chat about them a little bit more. I know you guys have your YouTube channel. Do you want to go ahead and let everybody know what that is?
Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel. If you just search youtube.com/Andrea Nastri, you can find myself there. I talk all about pop culture, Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, and Andrew is very much on my channel as well. So
Drinking wine too.
he hasn't spilled it yet on my channel. So subscribe
the
there.
wine is very important to me.
Sometimes you just have to get through the day. I that's why I started a segment called "It's Time to Wine" with Wine Time. I have yet to actually pour the wine because whenever I'm filming, it's a little bit too early in the day, but it's coming. Just know.
I needed it to get through these surprise announcements.
Oh, I'm sure. The excitement for a Swiftie when these things pop up. Did you guys have any idea that these were coming? Because I know she's like one of the only artists I've ever witnessed who can drop these hints and fans pick them up and they're like, all of a sudden we've got 1 million PIs across the country, across the globe that are just like being detectives deciphering everything. And you had no inclination?
No. Honestly. And it's hilarious because we are heavily involved. We do look into everything. And especially with Evermore, I was even more surprised because we were just so duped. And looking back at the previous couple of weeks, like November, December especially, everything was there. There was hints everywhere that just went completely over our heads.
Wow.
When we look at everything. And it just complete shock, especially round 2, that she did it again.
I think what a lot of people don't know, if you're like a real Swiftie, is like we're like looking at how many emojis she uses in one post. We're like looking at, what's in the back of her Instagram picture she just posted, how many holes are in a fence. Like, it's a job.
Yeah, I wish you got paid for it, guys, because you go all in. But what do you remember the first time that maybe she started doing that, where you actually were picking up on it? Do you remember like the first Easter eggs?
She's like always done that. I remember in her earlier albums, she would, how there's like a lyric book in front of a CD. She would like capitalize certain letters and it would spell out like who the song was about or like fun things like that. So she's kind of always done it, don't you think, Andrew?
Yeah, she's always had little extras for serious fans. Yeah. I think though, like really looking into Easter eggs and everything she says really started in the Lover era. Like it blew up in a huge way, and she started playing into it, I believe, when she dropped the Me music video, because she's like, there's hints in the album title, in the video, like go look. And beyond that, a little before, the Look What You Made Me Do video also had a lot of things that she said, oh, like you're not even gonna be able to understand some of these references until future years.
Wow.
So definitely the past couple of years, it's just reached an extreme, overwhelming level looking into everything.
And you know what? 2020 was living for it. We needed that this year. So you guys, you obviously are at that Stan level. So do you remember what attracted you to her in the first place?
Yeah, I do. My first foray into full-on standing her was absolutely Love Story.
Okay.
Back in 2008. That's what grabbed me for life. And I was thinking about that recently. And I love that Love Story is what grabbed me, because I think there are so many examples in that song of what she's still doing successfully today. There's storytelling in it from different perspectives. Romeo and Juliet, she's still doing that kind of storytelling in Folklore and Evermore, specifically from different perspectives and different characters. There's kind of that blend of country and pop. There's a bridge that explodes. And I just think it's a very early example of everything I love about her. And I think a lot of people in the general public are finally starting to realize about her through Folklore and Evermore.
Cool. Andrea, what do you think?
kind of similar to that, just her lyrics. I remember from like a very young age, like being like, oh my God, this girl like knows like, oh, Drew looks at me like, oh, that's like the boy in my class, like I have a crush on. And I don't know, just her way that she can write about her life and somehow make it about your life. I mean, that's like the magic of Taylor Swift, of music, I guess. But yeah, I guess it's the lyrics and how I can relate to them.
Yeah, she has a very specific way of using details incredibly specific to her life, especially in the early years, but writing a universal theme around it.
It does. I mean, it's amazing how relatable she can make herself, even at the power position of entertainment in Hollywood that she's at. Like, her life in reality, like, none of us can really relate to. Yet her emotions and her feelings and, you know, her interactions with people, and like, that is, I think that's the beauty of Taylor, that she can encompass the relatability factor. She's honed in on that from day one, and that you're right. You're very right with that. And that honestly, I'll freely admit, and you can hate me for like 0.2 seconds, but I was not a Taylor fan at first. Like, because I'm not into like twangy country, like the banjo, right? So that was never my thing. So like when she first hit the scene, I'm like, oh my God, this girl. Plus, I felt like her reactions to things were like over the top, but I also realize now, hi, she was like 15, so calm down. So she's totally. Down. Yeah, right. Yeah, she's allowed to be like, oh, all the time. But then the Red era hit, and she started transitioning a bit from country to pop, but it was still very heavily with the singer-songwriter type of stuff. And that's what gets me, because I am a songwriter, so like I always write, if I'm going through something, that's how I process it. So I was like, oh man, why is she releasing a song I like? No, not another one. No, I'm a Swiftie. Like, she got me. Bait, hook, switch, whatever. So I'm here, and I'm living for it. And obviously, like, I go out and I buy albums and I buy T-shirts, and I'm living it. Not to the extent of like I can decipher clues, but I live vicariously through those who can. So that's where we're at. But I want to go and start talking about these albums, guys, because these were big things for a lot of people. When this one dropped at the beginning of this pandemic, people damn near lost their minds in the best of ways. And I want to know your thoughts on this Folklore versus Evermore, because I'll tell you right now, I feel like we've got a great storytelling album here with Folklore, where we're getting a little bit of the Taylor that we've known, where it's a little bit more upbeat in the beginning. You know, we got a little bit more like catchy stuff. And then we get back to here where Taylor's in her feelings. And she's, if this were like 1995, I think she would be joining the Lilith Fair tour, because she's got like that very acoustic-y, going back to her roots, very in her own feelings kind of album. So you guys tell me. Let's start with Folklore. What are your favorites? What are your feelings? Give me whatever you want to give me.
Andrea, do you want to go first?
I think we can both agree Betty slaps. That is the song.
we are huge Betty fans.
Yeah.
I think you nailed it with your kind of description there of Folklore versus Evermore. Folklore was obviously a huge change for her sonically from where she's been the past couple of years. I think though that if you've been paying attention to Taylor, it's the most Taylor thing she's ever done.
Yeah.
It might have been shocking to some people, but we're like, no, this is clearly the album she's been dying to make and was finally afforded the opportunity to this year. And I love it. I agree. It's a fantastic storytelling album. And I think for me, the standouts in the future will be that love triangle of Betty, August, and Cardigan. I think those when you think folklore, you think that kind of storytelling, as well as those kind of emotional songs like This Is Me Trying, we both love. Exile is phenomenal as well. But that's storytelling, and her playing around with those characters that she created really stand out for me when I think folklore. I think the risk that she took releasing it paid off, and she kind of pushed it to extremes on Evermore. So more storytelling. The happier songs are happier. The sadder songs are much sadder.
Oh, yes, they are.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, I think we're seeing a big flip with how she's writing songs, right? Because she used to be very autobiographical. She talks about this in interviews and how that wasn't sustainable for forever. So I think right now we're kind of seeing her like create these characters like Betty and James, and if you pay attention, they like intertwine throughout the album. They're mentioned throughout different songs, and for fans, it's kind of like, oh, so now we're like not in Taylor's life, we're like in this imaginary world she's creating, and that is so fun for me. I just love trying to figure out how it all connects, and I think it's good for her because I think she isn't in the spotlight as much, so it gives her like mental health a rest, if you will. So I don't know, I'm really excited to see what this type of songwriting holds in the future. She's kind of mentioned in the past she pulls from movies and TV shows, and her friends lives. We've kind of put some things together to figure that out as well. And
You crazy Swifties, you.
it's just so fun. Like, and it's kind of frustrating too, because you think you like figure everything out, and then she's like, oh, and then there's this, and this is how it connects. And you're like, that was right in front of my face. How did I not see that? So it's just a constant game. And when she's like dropping surprise albums like this, like it's just like you literally drop everything now and like run to Taylor Swift. So it's just fun for
Even
Swifties.
more so because we have nothing else to do. So
Yeah, Andrew and I were saying the other day, we're like, thank God we're both unemployed right now, because
Yes.
we need time to read through these lyrics. And
Well, I mean, you were saying, deciphering all the clues is a full-time job. So
yes,
It
yes.
I saw a tweet. It said, "You're either employed or you're a Swiftie. You can't be both." That's currently where we are at.
yeah, we are determining that is a fact. That is the truth. So Betty's the favorite track on that album. If we head over to Evermore, what are your thoughts?
So that was released a couple weeks ago. So I still feel like we're, being introduced to it. We're still learning about it. I would say my favorites off Evermore are Gold Rush, Long Story Short, and Ivy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like Gold Rush? Is that your favorite, Andrew?
No.
Oh.
Whoa. He's like, girl, no.
What's fun for me and Andrea as a pair, though, is we definitely prefer, I guess, a little bit different sides of Taylor. And in music in general, she definitely prefers more upbeat songs, and I love a good sad song. Like I love to wallow.
Andrew's like, I really just like to be with my wine and let the tears just fall into it and then drink them. It's fine.
Yes.
Let me be.
Champagne Problems, I think, is brilliant. Also has the best bridge on the album. I'm also really digging "'Tis the Damn Season," and "Cowboy Like Me" at the moment is just skyrocketing up there. It's one of those songs that I've seen people over the past couple of weeks, once it clicks for them, like there's no going back. It's so smooth. It's so timeless. Like I'm just on a different planet when "Cowboy Like Me" comes on. I'm obsessed.
I will say, I like Folklore for me was a one listen, and I liked, I think, everything about it. And what I've realized about Evermore, because of the style of writing and the way she, recorded it, I think this is you need to hear it a couple different times all the way through so you can get absorbed with it more. With my radio background, I've always been told you have to listen to a song at least 3 times before you can really understand. Is it going to be a hit? Is it not going to be a hit? This, I feel like if you just go ahead and you give it one listen, you might be like, oh, what is this? This is not the Taylor that I know and love. And then I was listening to it again today, and I'm like, oh, I like that song. Oh, I like that one too. Oh, goddamn. Like, I like that one too. Like, so I was going through it and I'm just like, okay, I see what you did, Taylor. I think I'm excited to see what she does do next, because she's at that point in her career where it can literally be almost anything. I mean, I don't see her coming out rapping. We had a little bit of that kind of Reputation era where, that could have definitely come out full on. but I'm excited to see what's going to be next for her, just because the world is hers. We are her oyster, if you will.
Absolutely. And I've learned my lesson never to doubt her. Even on when Folklore was announced that day, both me and Andrea were so thrown. We were frustrated. We were overwhelmed. We were confused. We were so used to her traditional style of releasing music, her albums being this huge event for us with months of lead up. And for her to throw it on us, I think we were both very concerned and worried what might become of that. But not that I've ever doubted her in my life, but this year really hammered home, never doubt Taylor Swift.
That is for sure. Because you know what? Back in the day, if somebody released an album without any warning, it was kind of like for the shock factor and for people to go rush out and like, oh my God, I haven't heard anything about this. I've got to figure it out. And then it ended up being an awful album. In this case, though, she just keeps dropping gems, and yeah, she can sneak up on us anytime, any damn time.
Well, it's very bizarre for us because, Andrew and I, are usually together when an album drops. We go to Target with other Swifties, buy the album. We then, spend hours on Ticketmaster trying to get tickets to her show, the best seats we possibly can, spending Lord knows how much money, like any
lots and lots of money, lots of it. And
then, you go to the show, you enjoy the show, and then that's the era. This isn't the experience we're having. And I definitely, when I was like, an album's dropping, like, oh my God, like, how do you handle that? I feel like this isn't what people would think, but it was frustrating for Andrew and I, because we were like, what the heck? This isn't our tradition. Yeah. Like,
we take it very seriously.
Yeah.
And we were apart back in July. We didn't experience like Folklore together. We were lucky to experience Evermore together. But even diving into that album, there was a lot more to comprehend and the styles of songs she was writing. Evermore was kind of a breeze, like at least in understanding the narratives of the songs compared to Folklore, which was a little more dense storytelling wise, I think. But even there's some now, as you said, like as we're giving continued listens to Evermore, we're like, could this be connected to that? Is this there? Does she mean this here? And yeah, it's absolutely Evermore I'm finding more with as time goes on. So yeah.
It's the amount of songs on the album, right? She's not just putting out these 12 song albums. There's, 15, 16, 17, there's 18 songs on Lover. Like, it is such a long album that in one listen, you're not going to get everything. You have to go back and like figure it out. And I think that's kind of like how things grow on people, because you don't hear it the first time because you're so overwhelmed by everything. So
who gets nobody ever comes to my house. I'm not even gonna, because I don't know what that is. But I will check and see if it's my dad, and it's not.
I feel like it's important to talk about Jack Antonoff and Aaron Dessner too.
And the Long Pond Sessions on Disney Plus.
Yeah. So she's
give me all the dish, because I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Like, I'm still like, my doorbell just rang. What just happened? Can I tell you, there's always something. Like the dog will do something. I'll fall, or the doorbell rings. I mean, like Nana calls. Like, I don't know. Like, even when I put it on Do Not Disturb, I don't even know what's happening. So, so tell me, give me all the dish.
So Jack Antonoff and Aaron Dessner are producers, and she's worked with Jack for a very long time. Andrew and I are obsessed with Jack Antonoff.
I love him.
You know him?
Well, I've met him when he was with Fun, but like when they were just kind of crossing to Top 40 Radio, when they had whatever song in a commercial, he was cool. Lead singer, not so cool. Anyway, go ahead.
And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she started collaborating with Aaron Dessner, who's from The National.
Okay.
You know, not a poppy sound he has. So when we first heard she was collaborating with Aaron Dessner, we were like, what the heck? Like, who's that? But Andrew will attest to this too. He is the magic of Folklore and Evermore. He is the glue. He is the creative person behind the scenes of all of this. Very talented, in my opinion.
Well, and you know what? That goes back to the whole singer-songwriter vibe that she has on both of these. So having somebody like that who only does that is very beneficial, because they know a different way of maybe recording than you do when the pure pop releases end up being very over-processed in a lot of ways and whatever. So a singer-songwriter type of way is a lot more stripped down and a lot more focused maybe on the instrumental and like the emotional aspect of things. So
yeah, she phrased it recently in terms of these albums and creating them, that she used to almost have a checklist in her brain of, okay, radio single, song for the stadium shows, song to make people cry. And it's definitely true, especially if you look at something as recent as Lover.
Yeah.
There's that checklist across the board. Anything you could ever want in a Taylor album is there. Folklore and Evermore, of course, are much more cohesive and really took a different outlet because she was freed from that checklist. She didn't have to play at a radio game. She didn't have to tour it. So much freedom there to just create how I believe she's been wanting to probably for years.
Yeah, perfect. Well, now that we've kind of gone through both albums and we've obviously witnessed just how dedicated you guys are, I think it's time for some trivia if you guys are up for it.
Yes, I would love that.
Okay, so here's what I want to do. I'm going to go one by one with you. I've got a total of 10 questions. If one of you doesn't know the question that I ask, I will go to the next person. And then if say I give it to Andrea gets it, we're going to move on to Andrew. If we have a tiebreaker, I got a tiebreaker, we'll get to it. It will require a pen and a piece of paper, just so we're clear. So Andrea, I'm going to start with you, and honestly, it's an easy one. So, I mean, they're probably all easy. Like, this might be the easiest game you guys ever play, but just, go along with it.
Am I going first or Andrew?
Which name?
Andrea. We'll go with Andrea first.
They sound similar.
I know. You don't say. When I saw that it was Andrea and Andrew, I'm like, these two planned that. Which one of them changed their name to fit with the other? Come on.
Even our last names are very similar.
Yeah.
You should have just been siblings. I mean, I think that's what we're determining here. So Andrea, first question. What is Taylor's middle name?
Allison.
Okay, there we go. We've got one. Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor was born in 1989 in what city?
Reading, Pennsylvania.
I will accept that. It's West Reading, as long as the internets are correct. So it is 1-1. Andrea, Taylor's grandmother is said to have influenced her. Why?
Because she was a professional opera singer, Marjorie, and she was a great influence on Taylor. Very fashion forward woman.
I feel like you just answered that like you were Miss America. Like, you're like, and because she was just an overall great human being. Okay. Andrew, what made Taylor know that she needed to move to Nashville? What did she see?
What did she see? Oh God. Like a sign from above she saw?
She watched something. That's the only hint I'm going to give you. And I shouldn't have to give you any hints. You're a Swiftie. You should be able to decipher what I'm trying to get at.
What did she see? I'm going to say Tim McGraw performing or something.
Oh my God, that is so close. Andrea, would you like to steal it, Andrea?
Is it the Dixie Chicks?
No.
Or the Chicks?
No, you guys are both inaccurate. It was the Behind the Music with Faith Hill.
Oh, of course it's Faith.
Okay.
Okay, so
Andrew.
A little close.
2-1. I mean, you guys were close. You guys were close.
They're married, right? Her and Tim? Is that who Tim's married to?
Yes.
Okay.
So it makes sense as to why her first radio single was Tim McGraw. Which whoever gets that question is now going to know. Anyway, so we're going back to Andrea. What's her favorite dessert?
Cookies.
Andrew, do you want to steal?
What is her favorite dessert? Oh, I don't know. Shortbread?
Unless it's changed over the years, I have cheesecake.
It's probably true.
She's a big baker, so it could have been anything.
Maybe I give you half credit on both. I don't know. Let's we'll stay with Andrea. In 2010, she was in a film as Felicia. Oh man, you're letting down the Swiftie fandom.
Is it The Giver?
No, Andrew, do you want to steal?
I think I want to steal. Is it the Lorax?
No,
Or-
that was when she was the voice in that, but that is not the correct answer.
Is it Valentine's Day?
That is correct.
I did not know her name in that. I was trying to think of
I
2010.
just remember her dancing like this. You know what I'm
That's
talking
exactly what I remember. So we're at 3-1 here. Sorry, Andrew. Are you sweating? You I feel like you might be sweating.
I'm sweating. I'm sweating.
All right. So Andrew, you got that right. Andrew, we're gonna start with you for this one. I just gave the answer away a second ago. What was her first single to country radio?
Tim McGraw.
All right, there we go. 3-2 now.
Anyway.
Oh, Andrea's still in the lead. Andrea, she modeled for what company in 2003?
2003?
Yeah. This was the thing that kind of like got her a step in the right direction.
I'm going to say The Gap.
You're not far off. Andrew?
Old Navy.
Man, you guys, I know she's got the wholesome like background, so you guys are giving good guesses. Do we want to try one more time?
Hot Topic.
No.
Aeropostale?
Even closer. I'm not letting you guess a third time. It's Abercrombie and Fitch.
Whoa.
Yeah. And in 2003, that was a big deal. So, okay, who do I go to now? Andrew got the last question right, so we'll go back to Andrea. Taylor grew up on what type of farm?
In my heart is a Christmas tree farm where the people would come and dance under sparkling lights.
You don't get bonus points for singing. I'm just throwing that out there. But we're at 4-2. Andrew, I mean, there is no tiebreaker and there really is no way for you to win, but we'll try here. Question number 10. Who taught her how to play guitar?
Oh, it was some computer guy, some like computer engineer or something, taught her like a few chords on a guitar.
That is correct. A computer repairman. So 4-3, which means that 3 of the questions really stumped you guys. I didn't think I could stump you, but I will tell you, I did try to find the hardest questions just because I know that you guys are like the ultimates. So
Yeah, those are kind of
Her
hard.
dessert. Now we know her favorite dessert.
now you know. I want to thank you guys for being a part of this. I want you to stay where you are because I want to do some bonus stuff with you. But I hope that this has been everything that you've dreamt of.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Oh, hey.